We are by the river where they used to build the boats for a rivalry that, to explain, probably needs its own documentary. 14 miles, 23 minutes, or one change and 10 stops on the Metro. Geography is the only subject on which these two are close. In this area, you are a Mackem or you are a Magpie. The noise is deafening. Ali McCoist was a Mackem in the early 80s. Look, you never got to play in one of these, but you know one or two things about a fierce derby game, and this is up there.
Sam, the first thing I've got to say is we've barely kicked a ball, but this is completely and utterly living up to my expectations. This is marvellous.
Well, Mick Bill has precedents to draw on, like him. Sam Allardyce, Paolo Di Canio and Gus Poyet had a derby thrust upon them in the very first days of their tenure, and they won theirs, so no pressure. This is Anthony Gordon. Almiron. First touch for Kieran Trippier. And he wins the first corner of the game in front of the Sunderland fans away to our right-hand side. They'll be delighted to have him back, Ali.
Oh, big player, absolutely. Actually, do you know something, Sam? Doing a little bit of homework as you do. Both sides actually have been riddled with injury problems. So I think this, from both sides' point of view, the sooner they get them back, clearly the better. Newcastle's have been well documented, but so have Sunderland.
Trippier's got Cher, Byrne and a few others to aim at. It's Joe Bellingham who gets the header away in front of Byrne. Back in by Trippier again. It's a wicked delivery and Patterson didn't quite get near enough to it.
I think he did enough though. You're right, with perfect description. It was a wicked delivery, ball in from the right-hand side from Trippier. Keeper comes for it. I just think he gets a touch on it. Slight finger touch. And it's enough.
North Shields, born and bred, Anthony Patterson. He's been at Sunderland since he was 10. He'll be keen to make an impression. Almiron. Trippier again from that wide left-hand side, and Patterson's just about stopped it. And it was Sean Longstaff who'd stolen into the box.
Okay, that was a big chance, Sam. They reacted well, the goalkeeper.
Equa tussling with Joel Linton. He uses his muscularity. It's been a bright start by Newcastle, started on the front foot.
Certainly has, particularly down the right-hand side.
It's not quite a free hit, but the pressure isn't really on Sunderland's shoulders. There's a huge disparity financially, and there should be quality-wise as a result. Sunderland slowly rebuilding for the future in the Championship, and Newcastle have just been in the Champions League.
Yeah, the one glaringly obvious thing is Sunderland have got a really, really young squad. And they'll just want to steady the ship a little bit. I know it's only 3 minutes gone, but certainly Newcastle with a very bright start, as you mentioned.
Guimaraes looking for the run of Alexander Isak, who scored on Monday night in that thrilling game at Anfield, which could have been any score. Rusyn darting down that right, met by Sven Botman.
They looked quick enough, didn't they? Bounces up at him quick, doesn't he? I think he ends up stopping it with his chest, Patterson, but certainly a chance.
It is a smothering atmosphere, isn't it?
Oh, it's fabulous. It really is.
It's difficult to hear yourself think. Joe Bellingham works it back out wide.
To be fair, Sam, it's been like that since about 8 o'clock this morning.
Pierre Equa, who does like a thump from distance, away by Fabian Cher. Dan Neal, who knows all about this fixture, another local lad whose family are all Sunderland fans through and through. Jack Clark finding Rusyn. Elise has given the ball away to Bruno Guimaraes. A promising attack is thwarted, but they've won it back with a bit of tenacity from Pritchard. And the Sunderland fans quite like that.
Absolutely.
I think they like that as well.
You officially cannot beat a game where the tackles get cheered. You can't beat it.
Well, Mick Bill was banging a familiar drum this week. He says he just wants his team to be the best version of themselves today. He's pretty sanguine about what they're coming up against whilst tapping in the knee to make the fans proud. Well, tackles like that, energy like that is going to help.
That's all the supporters of a football club really ask for, Sam. It's 100% effort, 100% commitment, and they'll accept a lot of things, that's for sure. The referee having a check at something here?
No VAR today, you'll be happy to hear. Craig Pawson is the official, but there is a bit of communication issue between one of the officials and the referee. I think it's Mark Perry, the assistant, who's got a little bit of an issue. He's gone up the tunnel to try and get himself sorted out. So he's getting his communication devices sorted out. Well, Craig Pawson was the heart of a storm in midweek, wasn't he? Because he was the VAR who called Chris Kavanagh over to the monitor on Thursday to have a look at that Dominic Calvert-Lewin challenge.
And they eventually came to the totally wrong decision, didn't they? Let's be honest about it.
Well, you actually, today.
I'm just thinking, you looked at me there as if I was going to complain about there being no VAR. I'm actually waving my hands and cheering. No, they got that one wrong. I mean, that was a shocking decision, wasn't it, really, I thought. But it's certainly given everybody a little bit of time just to calm down, because the atmosphere in opening 5 minutes has been absolutely electric.
Well, they had to stop to get Mark Perry's communication device sorted out, but actually it kind of hurt Sunderland in a way, because they were building up a little bit of a response to Newcastle's bright start.
You know something, Sam, I actually don't think it'll slow them down an awful lot, to be quite honest with you.
They didn't bring much from Roker Park, but they brought the roar. It's Gordon trying to get the better of Hume and doing just that. Comes across to try and help out his mate. Gordon's done well to hold on to it.
And he did well coming across, because he slowed him down.
Newcastle fans have largely reacted with calm in the face of a bit of a storm that's built up over the last few weeks. 7 defeats in 8 games, if you include the penalty defeat to Chelsea in the Carabao Cup. In the immediate aftermath of Monday's defeat to Liverpool, there was no hysterics. Several fan groups posting pictures of Howe on their social media, claiming we are united. The message from the fans seems pretty clear about the manager's position.
And so it should be, Sam.
And they were here nice and early today, turned up at the ground, 10 AM at the coaches. They weren't allowed to lose public transport because of safety fears. And there's a huge number of them behind that goal, as you can see. 6,000. Joel Linton. Away by Ballard. Rusyn's going to get there ahead of Byrne. Pritchard scored a corker on New Year's Day.
Yeah, it was a good strike, wasn't it, outside the box against Preston. Watch the highlights of the game.
Ekwah looking for the run of Jack Clark, the top scorer. That one just a little bit too heavy. But the idea was right, and he will be their biggest outlet.
Yeah, he's a threat, isn't he? He just cuts inside a little bit, Jack Clark there, looking for it over the top. He's held his width, he might have got it.
Going on the chase. Patterson should be able to tidy this up. And Hull had chances in their game on Boxing Day against Sunderland. They drew at Rotherham, which wasn't a great result, but beating Preston without conceding was more like it. And also Saw first goals of the season for both Pritchard and Rusin, who is the Ukrainian international striker who they signed in the summer.
I've watched their games, Sam, and they certainly create chances, but in all of the games they also give up chances. So I would suggest if they want to have any success against this Newcastle side, they'll have to be a lot tighter.
Luke 09 with the challenge on Alexander Isak. Still doing up the shoelaces, but Newcastle are underway again. Has been a really sharp decline from Newcastle. They were third in the Premier League, and for a moment they looked like they were through in their Champions League group as well. They beat PSG in the season, they beat both Manchester clubs in the Carabao Cup in quick succession. Dan Burn has just run into Trey Hume over on that far side. The referee's allowed play on.
See, that was really aggressive play from Sunderland down the right-hand side, it really was.
You just wonder what the narrative would have been had they have got through that Champions League group. And you know, we were in Paris, we know how close it was.
Yep.
And if they just managed to see out the last few seconds of that Chelsea game as well in the Carabao Cup, it might have been a slightly different feel around Newcastle.
I don't think there's any doubt about that, Sam.
Almiron finds Trippier. There's not many waiting in the centre, and he couldn't get it there anywhere.
No, he wanted to cross it earlier, didn't he? Ballard comes across, he gives himself a little opportunity. If you watch it, he wants to deliver it, he looks up immediately, Trippier's nothing there. And by the time he does decide to cross it, Ballard comes across, good challenge.
And he missed one league game all season, Dan Ballard. Picked him up from Arsenal. Joe Linton charging as forward by Byrne. This is Bruno Guimaraes. Wasn't enough width about Newcastle there, and Bruno Guimaraes was looking for it. They've given the ball away now. Joe Bellingham wrestling with Trippier. And a foul by Pritchard is the one that's punished, despite the fact that the referee got involved as well.
Yeah. You want them on top of it, don't you? But perhaps not that close. Bellingham thinks he's won it. I think Trippier comes in, sticks a left leg out, and that's a free kick all day for me.
It's a long way out for Kieran Trippier to try and size up a shot from here. It's enough to engender a bit of nervousness amongst some of the Sunderland fans.
You'll be able to tell with his run up, won't you?
I'll just try and drop this around the back of the defence.
You think so?
His last goal for Newcastle was a direct free kick. Slightly closer than this. It's been an intoxicating first 13 minutes.
He's got a wall, though, in front of him. Consistent of both sets of players.
It's Trippier, who bounces through the wall, and it's a rather easy catch in the end for Anthony Patterson. That's more than 7 seconds, isn't it?
Yeah. He's not happy with Isak's position, and he was never comfortable there, was he?
Joe Bellingham. Release. Guimaraes winning it back for Newcastle. sense of Eddie Howe over the last couple of days and in his press conferences that he was trying to keep a lid on any emotions bubbling up amongst his squad. I think it was a little bit different on this side.
Yeah. And you can understand why. If you're Michael Beale, you want the place, you want your team, everything absolutely rocking at fever pitch. And to be fair, he's got what he wanted.
Trying to control it, miscontrolling it. And he's one that will really know all about what this derby means. Trippier with his effort.
Yeah, he's trying to fire into the goalkeeper's top left, isn't it? Takes the deflection, comfortable save for Anthony Patterson.
He's had a bit of a difficult time over the last couple of weeks, Kieran Trippier. High-profile mistakes in matches, probably brought about by fatigue, really. He's played a lot of games in Newcastle's jersey. He's been their most creative player in terms of assists this season. And he's a leader of the group as well. At least trying to hold off Trippier, who does well. Longstaff, is it? Isaac might just escape behind Luca 9 there. He had to tidy up after the ball looked to be running for the Swede. It's a little bit late from Jack Clark. Sven Botman, who's just come back from injury, did not need a whack like that. And remind you again, there's no VAR, so we're relying on the first look for Craig Pawson in consultation with his two assistants.
Yeah, it was age-old defender clearing it up the pitch. Kind of just leaving your boot in a little bit, wasn't it? There you are. It's you got to say, Clark knows exactly what he's doing. The fact that Botman actually kicks his studs has got nothing to do with it, because Clark knows exactly what he's doing. It's an extremely painful one, that, I have to tell you. Not having received them, having dished them out.
Jack Clark, who is the most prolific of the Sunderland players, they will tell you, if you speak to any Sunderland fan, that what they've lacked over a little while is a prolific striker, but he has 12 goals already this season, many of which have come from picking the ball up, direct running, driving up the pitch and then unleashing a precision shot. He is a threat that Sunderland will look to use, especially in transition. And Mick Beale certainly recognising his abilities. Took over from Tony Mowbray on the 18th of December. Not an easy time to take over a football team. He lost his first game in charge against Coventry, but they are unbeaten since.
And particularly when in a lot of people's eyes, supporters' eyes, that Tony Mowbray wasn't doing a bad job, Sam, it has to be said.
Walked into intense hot seats before. He's been involved in an old firm game or two. It's a late one on Anthony Gordon.
He catches his left leg, doesn't he? It's a free kick. Not a lot more.
I think that's a little bit of booing towards the end, but the initial sound was not booing for Anthony Gordon. It was just the chiming of their right fullback's last name, Trey Hume. Anthony Gordon coming in round the back of Troon. He sees it once again. Bruno Guimaraes. Fabian Schär. Space now for Trippier, who's miscontrolled that. Bobbled up on his foot. Has he kept it in? He has, and then he's sent it through the legs of Elise. Bruno Guimaraes, just a little body swerve, trying to poke it forward. Was there a handball against Ballard? Newcastle players were very quick to appeal for it.
Didn't think there was an awful lot in it, I've got to say. My initial reaction was it was good defending. Bellingham initially. Guimaraes does well outside the right foot shot away.
Start a little late on Rusin. Let's have a look.
Chest for me. This angle here might hit his left arm, kind of across his body. Never a penalty. On with the game.
Gordon. That's good work by Luke and I. And now Joe Bellingham strides forward, but he can't get away from Miguel Almiron. Oh, blood and thunder.
I'm enjoying it, Sam, I've got to say. It's a proper throwback and I don't mind it one bit.
Sean Longstaff just got straight back, up and good on with the game.
Which is what you want to see.
Well, that helps the referees out, doesn't it?
Of course it does. Of course it does. This is the challenge. Oh, I liked a bit of that. And both of them just two committed players going for the ball. Nothing in it. Really wholehearted challenge. What you would expect, really, in this type of fixture.
Trippier. Joelinton trying to get away from Ekwa. Good ball out to Dan Burn. Guimaraes gets it back from his compatriot.
It's a lovely little give and go, isn't it? It really is.
Almiron, Trippier's got on the outside of him. Space to get the cross in. It's a low one into that near post, and it's so close to being a Longstaff goal.
It is, and I'm just wondering, it's the second time we've seen him arrive in that position. Initially we're ahead of the previous time. Could Jack Clark get back a little bit quicker to help out Elise? You see him here, the lack of communication. And that's what causes a little bit of space there. If Jack Clark had kept going, he might have been able to block the cross. As it was, he couldn't do that, and that's a chance for Longstaff again. Tell you what he has done so far in the opening 22 minutes or so. Longstaff, his timing of his runs into the box have been very, very good.
Oh, brilliant Newcastle. And all of his goals so far this season have come in sizable victories for Newcastle. A couple of good opportunities in the opening 22.5 minutes here.
He plays that ball well, you know, Cher. He just drops it in a little diagonal into the left-hand side for either Joe Linton to come off, drop into an area, or Alexander Isak to drop off, take it into his body. It's a little diagonal, 30-40 yards, in a kind of right back, right centre back position. He plays it well in behind the Sunderland midfield.
Trippier searching out the run of Almiron Ballard with a good covering run.
That's good defending, getting across, helping out your left full-back. Yeah, you can see it. Good cover.
There's the central plank of the Sunderland defence is Dan Ballard. There's a bit of pace about him as well, which helps him in those situations.
That was evident there.
Isak. Well, across again.
again, doesn't he? He loves it. He really does. Not a good pass, not a good pass, however. Lovely little ball, outside the right foot, into the front man, and he goes. He's on his bike. 2 or 3 times we've seen it. He just sucks the midfielder in, sucks him in, plays it round the corner and goes and gets it. Very clever.
He's been a key feature of their midfield all season, Bruno Guimaraes. When he's not in the team, it does cause them a bit of a problem. And their schedule has been so tight, they haven't really been training until this week, when they've had a couple of sessions in preparation for this game. Not proper training sessions anyway, because it's been game after game. 11 games in 38 days up until Monday. And then it thins out again during January.
Yeah.
Well, unless you've got a replay, that is. Pritchard.
He's sharp, Almiron, isn't he? Doesn't give you a second on the ball at all.
He's the only Newcastle player that has featured now in all 30 of their games this campaign.
Brilliant, that's the one again.
Isaac trying to hold off Luca 9. Hume came in from right back to intervene. Ekwa. Dan Neil. Lucien did make a run down the left channel, but they've gone out wide instead. This is Hume. Ekwa looking for Bellingham to make that run. And Dubravka comes out and takes charge.
Just tries to dink it into the penalty spot area. It's too much on it. Comfortable for the goalkeeper.
Just inviting a bit of pressure, trying to find a little gap. Got it out to Trippier. Longstaff. Ball's just come in off the left flank into a central area.
Yeah, and Dan Burn has obviously moved out there as well. He'll probably receive it in a second. There you are.
Joel Linton. Bruno Guimaraes. Jason Tindall and Eddie Howe in that technical area getting a little bit animated. They want the ball moved a little quicker, I think. Isaac. Not in good shape. And Cher's attempt was to try and drop it in behind the defence and get Almiron to chase. And it was right from Pritchard. Because of the wage bill and the amount of money that it's taken to assemble either of these two squads, I think many people thought it could be a mismatch, but it's been tightly contested so far.
Anything but. You've got to say, you're looking at both sets of players on the pitch. Yes, absolutely, Newcastle would have more quality. However, it's a cup tie, it's a derby, and that cancels out a lot, you know.
trouble and given it away. And Almiron has sent Isaac clear, and Ballard's trying to get back at him. Isaac has gone down, and the referee says get on with the game.
That is absolutely top-class defending. It really is. Jack Clarke gets caught, Sam, and when he gets caught, I could almost look at Dan Ballard thinking about coming out and playing Isaac offside, but the ball was played early enough that he couldn't do that. He couldn't react, so his mind was made up. He had to get back in, and he does really, really well. That said, I'm thinking he's actually still got a crossing, a left foot shot away. Here we see it. Gets caught in the ball, Daly's in the ball. Ballard's in a position where he can't go. I think he does really well. I think he does really, really well. He grabs him across there. Nah, I've got that down as absolutely top-class defending, I really do. You mentioned his pace, Sam, sorry, 2 seconds ago. He had to be quick there.
Well, there was a little bit of grappling going on.
Yeah.
Eddie Howe obviously was screaming for a penalty. Most of those 6,000 Newcastle fans were as well, away to our left, but it looked 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
That's what I thought, mate. I've got to say, Clarke gets caught. Almiron very, very sharp. We've mentioned it before. And releases a very, very good pass. And Isaac, the bottom line is, Isaac should, in my opinion, get some sort of shot away.
Has the ball been kicked away here? And here's another look at the...
Here we see it. Nah. As you say, 6 and 2 threes.
And it would have been outside the box, wouldn't it, if there was anything. No VAR anyway, and we rely on Craig Pawson's judgment today. And he seems to have got that one just about right, I think.
I think so. I don't think that opinion will be universal.
When is it?
But it just shows you a bit of hesitancy from Jack Clarke. Almiron's all over him.
Pritchard. Headed by Joe Bellingham, is not going to be able to stand because this time Ballard has been penalised. I think Sunderland, if you speak to any of their supporters, they'll tell you that they come alive against the better teams. They've beaten Leeds this season, they beat West Brom, they beat Southampton, they gave Premier League Fulham a run for their money in the 4th round of the FA Cup last season. Probably should have beat them.
Yeah.
They picked up a draw at Craven Cottage, brought them back to Weir's side before eventually losing in a replay. They certainly raised their game again today against Premier League and recent Champions League opposition. Longstaff. Now Byrne. Gordon's gone down that left-hand side, looking to get on the end of this ball, and he's going to manage it too. And there's 4 waiting in the centre. Just steered away, comes back to Longstaff. And it's a hat-trick of chances for Sean Longstaff.
It's amazing, you can see him running up to it. He was never confident. It looked as though it was going to bobble. That's a terrific ball from Byrne to release Gordon. And he picks him out, put it in a dangerous area. That's a good touch. And he's never confident in getting over it. Does it bobble? We'll get a good angle here. Nah. See what he's trying to do, but he doesn't execute it at all well, Longstaff. One thing you would say in his defence, that's his 3rd attempt.
Yeah. And also the fact that it's probably worth noting that Newcastle have certainly had the better of the chances in the game. In fact, probably the only chances in the game.
No doubt about that. You could almost see him thinking there, will I put my foot through it or will I try and side foot it for a corner? Effectively, he did neither, really.
Joe Linton.
He's get caught again there, Hume.
Yeah, he's beating for pace. Joe Linton into the area. Isaac is arriving. It's an own goal. Dan Ballard has steered it beyond his goalkeeper to give Newcastle the lead in the derby.
Yeah, it's another ball inside the full-back, isn't it? Poses a problem for Sunderland. And Joe Linton, to be fair to him, just puts it into a really dangerous area. And Ballard, in his attempt to clear it, puts it into his own net. I think it's Isak that's behind him that would have finished it.
Well, it's a terrible moment for Dan Ballard, and it came about from this run from Joe Linton.
Yeah, I think he's got to go for it, hasn't he? Joe Linton knows exactly what he's doing. Puts it into that area, comes off his shin. Yeah, it comes off his shin, doesn't it? Flies into the net with Isak just behind him. Again, worth a mention in the build-up. I think it's Guimaraes that releases Joe Linton with a superb pass inside the full-back.
Well, on a day of heightened emotions and elevated passions, setbacks like that need to be managed and got over very quickly. Dan Ballard, who's had a good start to the game, needs to put that behind him straight away.
Yeah, 100% correct. We've mentioned him already, opening 35 minutes, and everything's been positive right up until the own goal.
The Newcastle fans are absolutely delighted. They've had a tough December, and they've got a helping hand to nudge themselves into the lead against their closest rivals. Isak. Sunderland's fear now is that Newcastle find their rhythm. Team that maybe have been lacking in confidence over the last month or so. If they find it again, they do have the quality to get away from you.
That's for sure.
With a challenge from behind on Fabian Schär.
Comes in behind them, doesn't he? Gives him a nudge. Pretty straightforward. Precision there for Craig Powson.
He's been eager to impress as Zirin Rusin, international with Ukraine now, but it's had a difficult start to life in the northeast. Actually, his family, his wife and child, have been stuck in Ukraine for the last few months. They've only just got their visas sorted out so that they can come over and live with him. They arrived this week. Scored his first goal on New Year's Day, and we'll hope that he now settles into the team and starts to find that goal-scoring streak that he searches for. Trippier. It's a good ball round the corner for Almiron. He's got Isak to his left, Gordon wider left. It was well read by Hume and then given back to Hume by Byrne. Jorgensen scrapping for it. And Hume having a little trouble with Gordon over on that far side, and that's the first yellow card of the game.
Yeah, he has. He's going to have to calm down, steady his ship a little bit. Just comes right across and catches Gordon there, doesn't he? He's been caught on the inside a couple of times for the goal and Longstaff's chance, Sam.
Minutes and a bit before the break, plus stoppage time, and what has been An all-consuming first 45 minutes. They're lining it up. There's a lot of movement inside that penalty area, which Sunderland are just trying to not be distracted by.
Well, I got a threat clearly, haven't they? Dan Burn, Boltman, Sher, Joe Linton, they've certainly got a threat.
Boltman and Sher just by the penalty spot. Norris is in there as well. It's headed away by Ballard.
That's an excellent header, excellent defensive header there. Good delivery in from Trippier, gets up well. Bit of action going on behind him, but he did well.
Trippier taking his time before walking over towards this near touchline. He won't be rustled by the hostile atmosphere, but he's got to put it on, at least overhanging the quadrant. Small movement inside the area as Trippier's ball goes in. Zach trying to control it. Gordon. Lukanine fighting with Dan Burn. Burn trying to get away from Joe Bellingham. Just overran that.
That was an interesting movement there from Dan Burn there. I don't really know what was going on.
Are you suggesting that nimbleness is not his best facet?
I probably was suggesting that, actually. Fair play to the big fella.
He's done brilliantly since coming into Newcastle, there's no doubt about that. He's living the dream.
Yeah.
He actually had a diving header disallowed at Anfield. Would have been the best goal I think he'd ever scored. Maybe not the most significant.
Yeah. Free kick all day, isn't it? Longstaff pulling him down there. And Neil.
Looking it away cheaply, and Joe Linton has got it. Gordon's gone on a dart. And that ball was always going out to him. Takes on Hume again. Longstaff. Imarash. Lifted in towards Gordon once more. Looking on away. Gordon just left something on him. Free kick is given in Sunderland's favour.
I think that's one of the disappointing things there from Michael Beale's point of view. I mean, it's a Sunderland free kick, and that, you know, to give it away instead of, you know, a couple of minutes ago maybe putting it in the box, asking Newcastle defence a question, and all of a sudden they're actually defending off their own free kick. So that would certainly be disappointing. I think probably both teams at this stage of the game, Sam, are probably ready for half-time.
Zach thought he'd won it back, and then the foul was given for the infringement on Ballard. I think if there's any disappointment from Sunderland, it might be that they haven't asked enough questions.
Without doubt. Can't question the tempo they've played at.
Dan O'Neill. That's a good feed. It's a great ball in, and it was sort of steered back by Longstaff. O'Neill went to run it back into dangerous territory, but Gordon's got it. Can't release his act.
Thanks very much.
No one wants it there.
Oh, not in 100 years you want that. And he knows it, to be fair to him. You just got to turn, put that onto your left foot and get it about 40 yards up the pitch.
Joel Linton will win the header. Back to Bruno Guimaraes, approaching the end of the first half. Newcastle, who I don't think without some of their key players. Into Almiron. Well, I think they've been in command of it so far in this first half. They've certainly had the best chances.
Without doubt. That's a beautiful pass. And you can see Almiron is he's onside, definitely onside, and he's just trying to connect with it into that far corner. He doesn't connect as he would want. You can see 2 or 3 bounces would tell you he doesn't connect as he would like. And it just goes round Patterson's post. From his point of view, he'll be delighted to see it. It was a lovely ball from Guimaraes initially.
Which the referee has not given in Sunderland's favour, which hasn't gone down particularly well. We are into the first of 3 added minutes at the end of the first half. Newcastle threatening again. Guimaraes, Ekwa. Sunderland fans getting a little bit frustrated, and if any industrial language has bled through to our microphones, that's because they're sitting behind us. Already, Howe, I think you're pretty pleased with the way your team's managed the game.
Absolutely. From Michael Beale's point of view, he'd be happy with the effort that his team's put in terms of their willingness and desire to run about. Eddie Howe will be delighted with the game's going.
Almiron. Trippier busting a lung to get out on this side, but Almiron's going to keep going. At least put a tackle in, but Almiron already shifted it. Byrne. Gordon. There's a problem for Joel Linton on the halfway line. And he has had a bit of an injury-hit season, really, Joel Linton. He's missed 7 games with a variety of different injuries this campaign. He's only just back from 1.
Yeah. I didn't see it, Sam. I'm not sure what it was. He's looking to the ref as if he's complaining about a challenge.
Been a little push on halfway.
Yeah, that is. That's exactly what it is. It's a push in the back. However, the way he's shaping up, I don't think it's the push. Clearly it's affected him. It's maybe the reaction to the push. I don't know whether he's tweaked something in his right leg. Courtesy of the push.
Well, the build-up to this encounter in the northeast has been incredible. Arriving here yesterday on the train, supporter after supporter discussing the game. It's all the taxi drivers, the bar staff were talking about. And you can imagine the tone in this town. Someone sent me a text earlier saying that one of the bars ran out of beer at 8:20 this morning.
Which begs the question, what time did they start?
Well, it's been a long time since they've met. They're making an occasion of it. And Joel Linton's still unhappy and is making that point.
Yeah, it's a clear nudge pushing the back.
I think what he's unhappy about is he feels that he was fouled and then had to go off the pitch because he wanted to receive treatment and has now got to stay off for 30 seconds.
After being fouled. Yeah, I've got to say, it doesn't really make sense, that. I think he's got a point there.
Gordon putting pressure on Luca 9. Ball out of play now, and Joel Linton is allowed to come on. Too much longer to go at the end of the first half. We've had an extra minute or so added on already. There's an offside flag over on the far side, which is why there's a free kick. And that is the end of the first half. Well, Newcastle United have never lost 4 matches in a row in 90 minutes under Eddie Howe. And this is not the place to start. The first half where they have taken control of the derby, but scored only thanks to an own goal from Dan Ballard, and they've planted a couple of toes in the fourth round. He might feel as if they could have been further ahead. He had 3 good chances in that first 45 minutes. We'll have analysis with the former Sunderland boss Roy Keane, Chris Waddle and Mark Pugac next. But at half-time, it's Sunderland 0, Newcastle United 1.
They've got to do something different.
Well, Ryan Taylor was the last man to score a winning goal against Sunderland for Newcastle way back in August 2011. Alan Pardew was the Newcastle boss for that game, the last boss to win against Sunderland. He was telling a story the other day about what it does to you when you lose. It doesn't just hurt, it disrupts your core. Expect Sunderland to respond in the second half. No changes for either of these two at the start of the second half. Newcastle looking to get on the front foot again immediately, but the offside flag is up against Almiron.
Yeah, he's a live wire, isn't he? He goes short and then spins behind. There he goes. Probably is just offside, not an awful lot in it though.
Oh, he's given the ball away. Almiron, it's Alexander Isak. It's the worst possible start to the second half for Sunderland. A Sunderland blunder hands Newcastle a 2-goal cushion.
Well, it's a disaster, isn't it? Defensively, it's an absolute disaster. Not that those Newcastle fans and players will mind. Pierre Ekwam just absolutely dallies on it, tries to cut back inside. And I mentioned to you in the first half, Almiron has not given any of the Sunderland players a second on the ball. And once he dispossesses, Akwa just rolls into the path of Isak for the simplest of finishes. I mean, I don't know what you're thinking about in that area. Absolute madness, particularly against that man. And it's excellent play, it really is, from Almiron.
Well, we've only been back underway 32 seconds before Isak popped the ball in the back of the net, and already Newcastle deciding to make a change, getting 2-0 up. They're taking Joel Linton immediately off. They obviously wanted to test his injury, and he's being replaced.
Yeah, Lewis Miley coming on now. You know something, Sam, I nearly said, in terms of the mistake there for Pierre Ekwam, you know, you wouldn't try that in the Championship. You wouldn't try that at any level, really. You cannot do that. And I mentioned to you in the first half, Almiron is all over you. So you don't take any chances with somebody like him about.
Well, Newcastle now in complete control of the game. They've already had command of it, but a 2-goal cushion is enough for them to just relax a little bit, enough to bring on a 17-year-old in midfield. Lewis Miley has played in Dortmund, he has played at Anfield, he has played in the Parc de France and done very well. But this is a very new experience for him.
He's not your normal 17-year-old though, Sam.
that is correct. Ekwa from distance, and it's a good save from Dubravka after a wicked deflection which could have outfoxed him. Ekwa trying to atone for his error, almost did in spectacular style.
Ended up a good save, didn't it, from Dubravka, sticks up his right leg, I think. The shot from Ekwa takes a deflection. Won the possession, brings it back onto his left, doesn't he? Oh, I think it's Botman that comes off, isn't it? Yeah. And he's away, you know. I'll tell you right now, if it's anywhere else in the goal, it goes in. Oh. Anywhere else it's in.
Dubravka was brilliant in the game against Liverpool, despite conceding 4 goals on Monday night. Probably his best performance in a Newcastle shirt for a while. And he's made a big save there. Pritchard standing over this free kick. Chance for Sunderland to try and fashion a way back into the game. Way by Isak. Jack Clark. couldn't quite control it. It's out for a throw into Newcastle. He's got a bit of thinking to do. Squad assembled for around about £8.5 million. Newcastle's net spend over the last 5 years, £416 million. It's worth pointing out that Sunderland spent 4 years in League One before a return to the Championship in 2022. There was hope that they could compete with Newcastle today, but an elementary mistake right at the start of the second half has just given Newcastle quite a big advantage in the game.
Yeah, you can see the goal's obviously an own goal and a poor defensive error. That said, Newcastle by far and away have been the better side so far.
Gordon, that's going to be cut out by Dan Neil, and then Kieran Trippier commits a foul. The referee was going to play on. He's now stopped the game as Newcastle come forward.
Yeah, I wasn't sure he was going to give it, Sam. I thought it was a free kick. He was kind of slow making a decision. Well, it's a free kick all day.
He had to pass a late fitness test to be involved today. He had a groin problem which kept it out on Monday night against Liverpool, but he has rather enjoyed playing in this game so far. He's got up and down that right-hand side well. Gordon revelling in it too, standing in front of those Newcastle fans and just trying to rev them up. And under pressure again. Miley, the 9 clear. Newcastle, whose pressing was superb last season. It was the facet of their game which helped them win so many matches. They've been better at it in this second half. They've really pushed a little bit further on whenever Sunderland have tried to get out. Guimaraes playing that to Almiron. Trippier's backing him up again. Space on the edge of the box for Bruno Guimaraes, and then he tried to release it down the right channel, but Longstaff knew he was offside.
Yeah. Back to me sharp, he's looking for those passes every time. Guimaraes, very clever footballer.
Sunderland taking a little bit of a risk again, inviting Newcastle onto them. They've got out this time. Elise running out of room. Famous faces from Sunderland past. Jordan Pickford was on the bench for Everton in the FA Cup on Thursday night on ITV4. 35 Sunderland appearances before moving to Goodison Park, England's #1 goalkeeper. Still with a keen interest in the Mackems. Stuff. Well, Eddie Howe's team have seen their road form desert them a bit. Only Sheffield United have taken fewer points in the Premier League away from home this season. Didn't win any of their away games in the Champions League, although they came mighty close in Paris. But winning here, he hopes, will be the spark that their season needs. Still some way to go. Almiron certainly fancies it in this second half. Palmer on. Trippier alongside him. Trippier again, a low ball which is diverted behind by Ballard, and it had to be because Isaac was lurking.
Yeah, the movement's very good down that right-hand side. They work it away. Guimaraes again involved. Trippier with the cross. Again, good positioning from Dan Ballard.
The wide areas have been such fertile ground for Newcastle. Trippier, away by Bellingham. Hitting share. Newcastle keep Sunderland penned in. Botman. Palmer on again. Botman. Anthony Gordon. It's getting trickier for Sunderland. And look at Bruno Guimaraes. Just trying to turn up the noise behind the goal.
He's a lovely wee flick. And you can see him here, winding his supporters up, closing down.
He's going full-on cheerleader mode.
They just can't keep a hold of the football at this moment in time. Sunderland, Sam, having a real struggle.
Burn. Longstaff. Across came Ballard, and the corner kick is given despite the protest from the former Arsenal man.
Yeah, he was appealing for an offside, wasn't he? Ballard there, I think he thought he was offside. Comes across. I think it hits him twice and goes out. I think it's the correct decision.
Corners will be taken far side. Kieran Trippier standing over it. Botman and Byrne up inside the box. It's over Byrne's head. And Miley recovers the ball for Newcastle. Trying to steer it brilliantly back to Bruno. And then into Isaac, who is tackled by Hume.
Did well there, Hume, really well.
Well, he had to get it right, didn't he?
And he had to time it superbly, and he did. It's a lovely little flick round the corner again.
Got themselves in a tangle again on the edge of the box.
They have, they're trying to play out all the time. I wouldn't mind getting Roy's thoughts at this moment in time, Sam, on the Sunderland passing out from the back routine.
I think you know the answer.
Which doesn't seem to be working. Roy, if you're listening, I'll ask you after the game.
Trippier, again given away cheaply by Sunderland. Daniel wins it back, desperate to make an impression. Now Pritchard on the half turn. He's got Rusin moving to his right. He's going to go for goal instead. He kisses the top of the crossbar.
It really does.
He's capable of that.
It's a great effort. We mentioned his goal against Preston last week, Sam. He does well. It's a good run that Rusin runs across, and it dips. It just dips too late for him. I think you're right. I think it skims the top of the crossbar. Yeah, it definitely does. Great effort.
Well, he cut across it very similarly to the way he scored that goal against Preston.
Yeah.
That one arced into the corner. This is a little bit more central, but almost did the damage. And they haven't used him that much, not from the start this season, Pritchard, but he is a weapon. Now it's Luca Nine's turn to turn up the temperature.
There's a challenge for you. If you're on the receiving end of that, which Lewis Miley was, all you do is lift your undercarriage up and just let it happen.
Pritchard's ball is cut out by Almiron.
It's one of these with Sammy, close your eyes, because you know it's coming.
Bruno Guimaraes. Well, listen, it has been a game which has involved a lot of passion. There's been a lot of tension and anxiety, I think, building up to it. But for the large part, Newcastle have managed that anxiety, those nerves, those tensions around the game very well. They've kept cool heads. Sunderland, a younger group, a newer group, maybe feeding a little bit more off the emotions that are being emitted from the crowd.
Well, they're certainly doing their best, aren't they, to get them going.
They've left the gap here, and Isaac threatening to get away. Nine covering well. Bala. Rusyn on the chase. Dan Burn will come across. Rusyn gets his body in front of Dan Burn. Asks for a free kick. He is declined.
He actually made a very good run, Rusyn, there, and should have got a touch earlier, I felt. Dan Burn certainly got his arms round him.
Pritchard's just been booked for dissent, I think we'll probably put that down to. Well, Newcastle last won the Cup 1955, 69 years ago. Jackie Milburn helping to down Man City. That was the 6th time that they'd lifted the famous old trophy. They've been runners-up 3 times since. Ekwa was urged to shoot by the crowd.
Well, I was going to say, Sam, the ball found its way to the left-hand side there to Jack Clark, I think it was. And he's got to put it into the box, but he looked up and I think he's only got one player in the box. That was his problem.
Newcastle got a taste of what it might feel like to win a cup competition when they got to the final of the Carabao Cup last season. Maybe this season this might be their project, with other routes closing. They've got to get through the final half an hour first, and Sunderland just starting to find their range. Can they find a way of crafting a chance? That's the big question.
Well, it certainly looked livelier, haven't they? The last 5-10 minutes or so. Well, at least one couple of serious attempts on goal.
Well, back to Patterson. Pass gets the thumbs up from Nick Bill. Joe Belling with Gordon behind him. There's a little push in the back from Gordon, which is going to generate a free kick to Sunderland.
Just using his body, doesn't he, Bellingham, to cut across Gordon. Straightforward free kick.
Good pass through the legs of Myling. Pritchard. Dan O'Neill finds Elise. Back to Dan O'Neill again. Bellingham's made a run into the box. It's floated behind Hume, who's come charging up.
Yeah, it's a poor delivery, isn't it? It's the wrong option, and Hume's right. The ball should have at least been put into the box for Bellingham, who made a good late run. There you see it, and it forces Dan Burn. I know he's obviously trying to do, he's trying to find Hume on the right-hand side after Dan Burn has to tuck in to match the run. The A, it was a poor ball, and B, I think it was the wrong option also.
Well, inside the stadium, the fans have been cracking. Both sets of supporters made a hell of a noise throughout the course of the afternoon. And Sunderland fans regularly turn up in their numbers to support their team. They always have. They're getting around about 40,000 a week in the Championship. And they do not want to be on the wrong end of a beating from Newcastle. Trippier forward. Isaac being marshalled by a 9. Ballard. Getting reacquainted with Isaac again. Given away cheaply. Trippier. Miley able to turn. Guimaraes looking for Gordon, who tried to run in off that left touchline. He was being held and pulled, and that sparked a bit of a flurry. Isaac going across to act as bodyguard for Anthony Gordon, who can sometimes get a little bit too spiced up. The referee's got a little bit of sorting out to do here.
He sees to calm everybody down, doesn't he? He's got a yellow in his hand anyway. My money's on Hume. I might be wrong. That Gordon might get one as well.
Yeah, one I think for Anthony Gordon. And he's telling Trey Hume, if you want my shirt, I'll give it to you afterwards.
Yeah. Well, there's a bit going on, isn't there? You'd expect the two of them. I don't think there's any need for Ballard to get involved, I've got to say, but I think it was just two players muscling for the ball initially, and then it got a little bit out of hand. Nothing major, thankfully.
Well, he didn't book Trey Hume.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, because he's already been booked.
I've done him a favour there. Only thing I would say, he's not going to book, he should probably just not book either, though. I like the fact he's wanting to keep all the players on the pitch, I get that. And you want to do that at every opportunity.
Joe Pullingham has just taken the ball out of play on this near side, which has given Newcastle the ball back again. Well, Sunderland chairman Kirill Louis Dreyfus is back in town today. He earns 64% of the club. At 26, he is the youngest chairman in English football. And he has been around football all his life. His late father was the owner of Marseille at one point, CEO of Adidas and other companies. He's surrounded himself with good people as well. I think they were quite happy to admit that they've made a couple of mistakes this week, but
I'll say.
Tried to put that right. Trippier. Whipped in by Bruno Guimaraes. She comes back to Almiron, and it's blocked brilliantly by the retreating Lukanine, who put his body in the way to prevent a certain goal.
Oh, he does his fellow centre-back a massive favour there. Lukanine for Ballard. Again, it's not a good clearance, but boy, did he get him out of jail there. I think this is flying in. It really is. Oh, yeah. Certain goal save that.
Jostling for position inside that box. Cher and Ekwa, and Byrne as well. Comes back to Gordon, edge of the area. He's made some space and left it from Miley, actually. And now a chance to counter-attack. Clark is in possession for Sunderland.
Newcastle did exceptionally well getting back in numbers there. That was an opportunity initially, I thought, for Sunderland to put a good counter in, but Newcastle did really well getting back in numbers.
Newcastle defence was watertight last season, but it has spun a few leaks in the last few weeks. 18 goals conceded in their last 8 games, but today hasn't been tested nearly enough. And they have worked better on getting back into shape when they've lost the ball. Maron.
He's been terrific, Sam, he really has, I think.
Isaac takes over. 20 minutes to go. Bird. Bruno Guimaraes floating that towards Almiron. It's a bit too high for him. Well, Monday night we are with Manchester United at League One Wigan, who have a little bit of history in this competition. 7:30 ITV1 and ITVX join us for that. We've also got the fourth round draw on Monday night. We're underway at 7:30 and that draw taking place before the match kicks off. Looking forward to that. Intercepting another free kick, another expected clearance. They just can't get hold of the ball in opposition territory for longer than a couple of seconds.
That's the problem they've got, or one of the problems they've got.
On by Bellingham. Pritchard is challenged by Bruno Guimaraes. He's going to get a yellow card here.
Yeah, Gordon initially just overruns it, doesn't he? It's a good challenge from Bellingham. Pritchard's all over it. Gets there first. Yeah, straightforward yellow card.
It's only his 13th yellow of the season. Where's number 39? Because his dad used to drive the number 39 taxi in Brazil.
No way. Seriously?
True story.
I love wee things like that.
Only goal this season in the 8-0 demolition away at Sheffield United. Their only Premier League away win. They win in the Carabao Cup away at Manchester United earlier in the season. Tackled by Almiron, who's had a terrific game, really. Stopped any forward momentum again from Sunderland, who have a set piece, got a chance to get it up into the opposition's box and end up giving it away again.
You've got me thinking there as well. I'm just wondering if Guimaraes' father drove 2,418. Remember the taxi? He would have a problem, mate, wouldn't he?
Well, the good news is it was 39. It would have had to have been a tattoo.
That's the area that Sunderland want Clark to get the ball in. Clearly it didn't work for him there with Trippier coming across, but that's what I haven't seen enough from Sunderland's point of view. That man receiving the ball higher up the pitch.
Well, Newcastle aren't the only ones with injuries. Made a lot of their problems over the course of the season. 9 senior players out recently. Trippier back today to try and dwindle that number, but Sunderland too have had their problems. Their club captain Corey Evans has been out for a year. No Patrick Roberts today, which would have only made a difference. His individuality, his ability on the ball. Against a good team, you would fancy his chances to make an impact.
Certainly talented player with the ball, that's for sure.
No Bradley Dack today either. Pritchard after Rusin wins it well, and Pritchard's got a chance to run, encouraged to shoot, eventually does. Dubravka makes a good save. Just brought the Stadium of Light back to life again. Clark twisting and turning and winning a free kick.
Tate Pritchard's been lively, Sam, second half. He's been a plus for Sunderland, that's for sure. Trippier comes across, Clark here. Catches him. Not sure it was enough to make him go down that as much, or the way he did rather. But he just hits his outside of his right foot, I think it is. Gets a little half yard, good effort. big hand, a good strong hand from the goalkeeper. Dubravka does well, just bounces in front of him, big strong hand to save. Look lively.
Martin Dubravka's only kept one clean sheet since stepping in for Nick Pope, who has been a miss, but he's made a couple of really good saves today in the white-hot heat of a derby. Pritchard standing over this free kick. Ballard has come up from the back. Rusin is there trying to make a nuisance of himself. The line is at the far post. Newcastle camped on the edge of their 6. Pritchard's delivery, Isaac's header away. Elise, pursued by Bruno Guimaraes. Won by Bruno Guimaraes. Tenacious, dogged and determined.
Yeah, he's a very creative player, Guimaraes. I'll tell you what, he doesn't have to do well there defensively. Just taking the sting out the whole game, earning his side a free kick. It's great use of the body, fighting away there, gets his body across here. There he goes, gets the free kick. Very clever, good play.
He's got to keep that in. John Guimaraes has found Isaac. He's given the ball away cheaply to Jack Clark, who's slalomed past one challenge. He's got space out wide for Hume. He went to poke it to him, but Dan Burn read it. And now they've turned the ball over and Newcastle are on the escape. Almiron and Isaac have stayed up. Almiron was taking no chances. Took one for the team and gets the booking. A customary booking for Luca 9.
Pretty straightforward, that. I'm just thinking initially from the Sunderland attack, Jack Clark should either hit that earlier or release the pass earlier. He allows Dan Burn, who did exceptionally well defensively there, to break up the attack. Here we see the free kick. There you are. That's pretty straightforward. Yellow card.
My taxi driver said the one guarantee today was that Luca 9 would end up picking up a yellow card.
What number was the taxi driver?
38. Bruno Guimaraes' uncle.
He's been terrific today, Guimaraes, he really has.
Trippier will line up another free kick. Dan Burns having his shirt pulled by Ballard at the far post, and Craig Pawson is going over just to mitigate. Lascelles warming up down in front of us. Matt Ritchie there as well for Newcastle. Might be tempted to make a couple of changes. Trippier's delivery. Good strong header away by Elise. Gordon. Couldn't wrap his foot round it to curl it back into the box. It's tidied up by Hugh. Neil needs an out there. Clark it is who gave it away. Newcastle won it back high up, and Gordon is the wrong side. And it's the wrong side of the posts as far as he's concerned. But again, Sunderland give Newcastle a gift.
Well, it's nearly football suicide again, isn't it? You know, the second goal's a mistake, first goal's an own goal, and you give the ball away really high in up the park from your opposition's point of view. Just curling around the wrong side of the post there from Anthony Gordon.
And it's been a bit of a theme of the week, really. Sunderland being a little bit too welcoming to Newcastle.
Yeah.
Martin de Bracker has had to make a couple of saves, and he will certainly attest to how good they were when Sunderland last won the Cup in 1973. A huge shot. Jim Montgomery made a double save from Trevor Cherry and Peter Lorimer to become a hero in these parts.
What a save it was. What a save it was, Sam.
It was a huge shock as well, wasn't it? Because they were a second division team at the time. Jim, and I think Dick Malone, who was also playing in that final alongside him there. They come to most Sunderland home games. Forward by Onai, headed back by Trippier. Not 10 minutes to go, if you include a little bit of injury time. Sunderland, at the moment, far from managing to find the spark that will turn the tide in this tie. Newcastle, with a mature performance up until this point, looks to see them in the first derby in 12 and a half years. Forward by Luke Onai. Gordon. Bruno Guimaraes out to Almiron. There's a little nibble by Elise, which gives the free kick in favour of Newcastle. Trophy winners few and far between for Newcastle. And behind the dark glasses is Bob Moncur, who
good Scotsman.
He was the captain of the side that won the European Fairs Cup.
Yeah, knocked Rangers out at, I think, the quarter-finals in that particular trophy.
Also played for Sunderland, actually is well thought of by both sets of supporters.
Terrific player.
He's actually got a little replica of the European Fairs Cup, which he keeps at home. He showed me it about 6 weeks ago. It's battered and bruised. He said, yeah, well, it's because the kids used it as one of the posts when they were playing football in the front room.
No respect at all, those kids.
Bruno Guimaraes. Probing again. Looking to extend Newcastle's advantage. Almiron tries to cut it back. Ballard had to be alert to any danger that was forthcoming from Newcastle.
I just think those two linking up there, Sam, they might be the two best players on the pitch for me this afternoon. Guimaraes and Almiron, two of them terrific.
Well, it's a young Sunderland group and haven't had too many experiences of playing against a side of Newcastle's quality over the course of the last few years, and they are getting a little bit tired now. Almiron. It was a dangerous delivery, and there wasn't anyone to poke that home. Substitute. And it's the end of Naziri Roussin's day. And on comes Abdoullah, the young French under-20 international. They shelled out €1 million for. I think that will mean that Pritchard goes in as a kind of false nine with Barr and Clark either side of him.
To be fair to Pritchard, he has attempted to get forward most of the second half.
So Bellingham foul. Nick Bill just indicating to Barr on this near side that he would like him to just come a little bit more centrally. He's just hanging out on this right-hand side, and then he's been told to move into the middle. Here is Barr. Well, 2023 was a great year for Eddie Howe and Newcastle. Beating PSG to bits, going to a cup final for the first time in 24 years, taking over the capital, getting back in the Champions League, starting this season well. But this winter, they have just cooled, and they need a strong start to 2024. Winning here will help. Barr gets it back again. It's blocked by Guimarães. She's still going, is Abdoullah Barr. He's been allowed to travel a very long way with the ball. Botman eventually clears for Newcastle.
That was a bright enough start, wasn't it? A couple of nice touches, block shot.
Big trips upcoming for Newcastle. They take on Aston Villa away from home after a bit of a gap between matches. Their next encounter is at St James's Park against Manchester City. Things don't get any easier or any less intense. Ipswich next for Sunderland in the Championship. Barr. 2.5 minutes to go. It's a decent delivery that from Hume. No one there to gobble it up. No striker diving in, because there isn't really one on the pitch at this moment in time. Back in by Clark, away by Fabian Schär. Isaac, well, he's got the better of Oman, who slid in, and now Gordon is away, and Ballard's going to try and scurry back. Almiron to the far post, Ballard's brought him down, it's a penalty.
Yeah. You could see it coming all day, couldn't you? Gordon does the correct thing. He just attacks the area, gets into the penalty box, and you can see he was unlucky with the first one in terms of the OG Ballard. But that's a poor challenge, very, very poor challenge that. Straightforward penalty kick.
And all of a sudden, the Stadium of Light starts to empty. The Newcastle fans quite happy to stay where they are. The Sunderland supporters are just starting to drift to the exits. It's a big moment because Newcastle's penalty-taking record has been pretty good. Callum Wilson's got a 94% success rate from the spot. He's not here. Alexander Isak scored from the spot on Boxing Day against Forest and earlier in the season against Burnley.
Kind of strange situation, Sam, because actually I'm thinking in general play Dan Ballard's had a good game, you know, but he's clearly the own goal. But he certainly looked a young, naive centre-half in that challenge.
Anthony Patterson trying to prevent Newcastle from scoring a third goal and guaranteeing a place in round 4 of the FA Cup. Isaac against Patterson in front of the Newcastle supporters. He steps up, no mistake from Alexander Isaac, and Newcastle, who were desperate for a ray of sunshine after a gloomy festive period, have found one at the Stadium of Light. Into round 4. And they are about to win this derby for the first time since 2011.
Yeah, as I said, Sam, it was a very naive challenge from Dan Ballard, who with 2 of the goals I think's played well. But that's just a perfect penalty, isn't it? Just opens his body up as if he's going to side foot it, comes back across it, and there you are.
Doesn't get more accurate than that.
No,
Alexander Isaac, who now takes his total to 13 goals of the season. Scored twice at the Stadium of Light.
Well, the first thing you've got to say, Sam, is, you know, you've got to say in general play there has been a goal. One of them has looked like one of the better top-flight sides, and Sunderland have looked like a side, you know, potentially trying to attempt to get the championship. In terms of the atmosphere, everything's been fantastic. It really has. And somebody's just hit me in the back of the head. Was that won't be real, that £20 note I'm hoping.
Oh no, it really is. Here you go.
He's been brilliant as well, I'll tell you. I think Almiron has had a fantastic afternoon.
Well, there's a quadruple substitution taking place now. Paul Dummett coming on for only his 4th appearance of the season. Tino Livramento is on. On comes Matt Ritchie as well. Andy Donner's played his part. Jamal Lascelles has come on. Newcastle secure enough now to give some a rest just for the last couple of minutes of this game, of which we are in stoppage time. And we probably should get you to give us our Emirates Player of the Match.
Well, I think from Sunderland's point of view, you know, I've got to shout with the 2 of the goals he's given away. Dan Ballard, as I say, has done okay, he's done fine. Pritchard have looked bright enough second half, but the better players without doubt have been in the black and white of Newcastle. I think Almiron's been excellent this afternoon, but I think he's just been outshone by Bruno Guimaraes, who I think's been, you know, a man of the match performance in the middle of the park for Newcastle. So
looking for a consolation for Sunderland, who are now deep into the 3rd of 3 added minutes at the end of the 90. Ball in towards Hume at the far post. There's a collision which sees the ball bounce into Dubravka's hands. He didn't have much to do today, Martin Dubravka, but he's had to make a couple of important saves.
yeah, one in particular down his right-hand side. I think Pritchard hit it outside of his right foot. It was a good save. It just bounced before him as well, so it was a good save.
Newcastle hoped this would be the catalyst to greater things. And he has said he hoped it would be a game changer. He allowed the Geordies in the squad to educate the others about the meaning behind the derby. They seem to have done a good job. The Sunderland fans know all about it. They haven't lost one for a very long time. This will sting, but they will know that their team still have a long way to go before they make up the gap to Newcastle. They have enjoyed their first trip here in 8 years.
Got to say, Sam, both sets of supporters have created a wonderful atmosphere. They really have.
been at times in this second half, but never really doing enough to frighten Newcastle. One or two moments from Pritchard, one from Ekwa, which took a deflection, but apart from that, it's been Newcastle's day, and it is Newcastle's day. Newcastle escaped the bitter, hostile atmosphere of a North East derby with victory that Eddie Howe so desperately craved. A first Wearside win for the Toon in 12 and a half years. Eddie Howe's team had crashed out of the Carabao Cup, the Champions League, and they've plummeted down the Premier League, but they have steadfastly refused to be intimidated here. Beating local rivals Sunderland thanks to 2 goals from Alexander Isak,